between the way we consume and we increasingly consume a number of services and the way we pay for them. And I think that creates a disconnect, which is going to be addressed. So it's one that we talk about and pay attention to. The other one is probably around business onboarding and the whole, how do you run a KYB process on businesses? I think there are some solution out there, but there is definitely room for future improvement and to make that a lot simpler and a lot more effective. And I think in businesses like ours, it's an area which can definitely be improved. So it's the other part we are looking at. And one of the reasons I think is going to kind of change or reshape the industry is because I think more and more small businesses need accounts. More and more small businesses go into opening account with neobank and a new fintech, but obviously that can't scale unless we're able to onboard those businesses properly at reasonable cost and fairly quickly. I think for us is I wouldn't necessarily classify it as innovation, but is to do things well. So I think, like you said, it's fairly easy to try to solve problems that don't exist. It's fairly easy to launch new things which haven't been proven. I think being able to launch something that works, is stable, is going to be there and scale over a number of years. It's actually a lot more difficult, right? Even in the larger software space, you see a number of businesses that run with an MVP, and then sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't quite work. We're in an industry where we can't afford it to be not quite working. It needs to work, and it needs to work well. So I think it's embracing innovation, but also making sure that you're going to deliver the solution, provide a stable solution for a long period of time as your customers are growing. So I think, not sure I call that innovation, but making sure you do things right and you do things well, I think it's really important for us. I hate the term entrepreneur, but we're effectively a team of entrepreneurs. And I think one thing we all wish we had early in our career is having more exposure around businesses. So I think as a developer, and I wish I understood a bit more what it took to run a software business. And I know it's similar for other people. So we've maintained a culture of transparency. We try to explain as much as possible on how we're running the business, why we're making decisions. You're going to get compliance analysts exposed to the reality of selling and dealing with customers within a sales process. You're going to have developers being explained why spending time on XYZ feature makes sense for a business and kind of what you weigh, in terms of making priority decision. So there are things which we can't communicate to the larger team. I mean, salary is a good example. But pretty much, I would say as much as we can communicate, we communicate. And I think it creates an atmosphere where people understand what the business is doing, are feeling part of the larger team, but also they get exposure to a lot more than what they would in any other job. And I think that's created a culture not only of transparency, but everyone kind of, is feeling the buzz for the business. Understand, and as well, we don't shy from the bad moment either. We explain the good and we explain the bad and we explain what we're doing about it.